My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for High Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at High Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. High Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
Guys, with the Australian production car race coming up a little later today, I thought it was a good opportunity to take you through what's going to happen in the pit stops. I've got a helper here. Greg Rust is going to be my car controller. We do have regulations around how many people can be out there. Greg, as car controller, is allowed out there. In fact, he's allowed out 1 lap before the car comes in. He can stay out at all times. We've got refueling happening today. And instead of having a boom up over the top, you've got this rig here which allows 3 people during refueling. So when they stop, refueling must happen first. They'll come out here, put the fuel in. 3 people are allowed over the line to do that. The driver can change during that. Before you can touch the car, fuel has to come back in and cross this red line here. Then 3 people are allowed to go back out and work on that car. I haven't forgotten about Greg Rust because he's allowed to stay there throughout as our car controller, but he must be back behind the red line before the car leaves pit exit. Simple, Rusty?
Whatever happened to Rusty? He's a hand model now.
Thanks, Rusty. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Greg Rust, down there on the lane. Thanks, Cameron, for covering that off. A couple of hours. You guys are going to be pretty busy covering everything that happens in the pit lane. If anything was to go by yesterday, we've got a long way to go. We've got 2 hours here. We've got some 1 hour races to go at Sydney Motorsport Park, and then we've got the 6 hour at the Island. So we could still have some miraculous drives in this time. You know, the 4 1 hour races at Sydney Motorsport Park last year delivered 4 race wins for Bob Pearson. Amazing. So right behind these Lotuses or Loti that we've got assembled on the first 2 rows of the grid will be Grant Sherrin in the car number 1 on position number 3, the Alford car in 4, then 5, Miller in the aging Evo 9, right alongside another 4-wheel drive car, Lachlan Gibbons. So watch for that 3rd row of the grid to jump away well. The 4-wheel drive cars cannot be denied. Shane Smollen in the number 38 there as well. He's on the next row of the grid. Chris Lewis in the HSV VE GDS, then it's James Keane in the Volkswagen Golf R, and Brad Woods in the BMW 1M. So the race has technically started at the start of the warm-up lap. The time started for the 2 hour race. So we're now at 1 hour and 56 minutes to go. This is actually the start of the physical race to get to the end of the 2 hours. Let's see how they get away. The Lotuses go well. The BMW is left standing there. Grant Sherrin seemed to be looking off into the middle distance there. Not at the lights, but it's going to be Jim Policina. He's going to get pushed wide by Denyer. They'll be side by side. It'd be wise for Denyer to get out of this at the moment because he'll get pushed wide. He doesn't. He stays with it. Jim Policina will have the run down to turn 3 on the inside, but not the advantage that Denyer's got. And he slides on through. Very aggressive start between these two. And I tell you what, if you stood beside the car, you could hardly even see Grant. As Jim Policina is well over 6 foot. We know Grant. But so he has muscled out the big fella into turn 1 and 2, and then ultimately down into 3. The battle pack is forming up behind Tony Alford at the moment as they get down into turn 1. The black car now getting through. It's Dimitri Agathos. Lachlan Gibbons at the wheel of the WRX. He's pushed through on the Lotus, and here comes Miller in the Evo 9 trying to get through, and it's Lillis as well in that big HSV Commodore.
We could say that we've got a plague of Lotus up the front. Denyer, Policina and Alford, all 3 Lotuses up the front of the field.
But we've got Lachlan Gibbons gone through.
Lachlan Gibbons has gone through, so great work by him.
Berwick Linton has already found his way up into about 6th spot. Sorry, not Berwick Linton. It's
Tim Lay, isn't it?
Yeah, Tim Lay. Absolutely ripper opening lap there.
20th place to 8th place for Tim Lay. That is an amazing start after 1 lap.
Wow, that is a ripper. We know Tim is a strong man at the wheel. That's why Barrett keeps making sure he's got him under contract so he doesn't slip out from underneath him to another team. He's certainly been a strong part of his campaigns.
Berwick was worried about his start.
Yeah. Well, he got the start He messed up the start, but the opening lap was a ripper.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Wow, look at that. He's gone through on Orford now. So Tim Lay, and you'd have to say in a class of his own.
And Shannon the next to get. So he is up to 6th place now. This could, well, gee whiz, we saw one of the great drives yesterday. This could be another. With Tim Lay going from 20th spot to 5th place in 1 1/4 laps.
There's absolutely no doubt that it's a strong piece of kit, the M3, because they'd led the championship coming into this round. They won the fight in the night. Tough race to win, but Berwick's won that before. This time he dragged Tim Lay along for the drive with him. Now I guess water starts to find its level at this point in time when you're charging through the field. You find your way into your own class, which happens to be A1. 2 cars up in front. Grant Sharon down the inside of Lachlan Gibbons. The 2-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, turbocharged M4 gets through. Under brakes, Lachlan Gibbons tries to go with him. The BMW storms on through there, so it's an M4 and an M3. Goes through on the WRX.
So what an amazing start for this BMW M3 of Tim Lay as Grant Jenya continues to lead ahead of Jim Policina. Grant Sharon, Tim Lay. Let's head down to Greg Rust down in pit lane. Rusty?
Just had a word to the Sharon team, guys. As you know, I think Grant lost a number of positions off the start line. He hasn't said anything on the radio, but they believe the car bogged down at the start, and then he had a kind of second crack at it, bit of wheel spin, and away he went.
Here's the start. There's that BMW. The M4 gets gazumped by at least 3 cars. Goes with the HSV initially, but the HSV muscled it out, and I dare say on a horsepower race down into turn 1, pulled in front of the M4. Here's our 2 leaders. It got really willing at the start of a longer middle distance type production car race between those 2. Over the hill, Denya just trying to squeeze Jim Policina, and in the end he won that battle. Look at that. There's a big bit of smoke comes straight out of the back. Is it dust or smoke?
No, I think it was smoke from Policina. It was definitely a lock-up, I'd reckon.
Wow, that was a big amount. It went round wide there, but Grant Sharon's going to capitalise on it because he has now just moved up from it being a good couple of seconds. It's now visual now. We can't even really get an accurate measurement on it, but you'd have to expect that Grant Sharon will start to swing on by.
Well, this Policina car is definitely different to the car we saw yesterday that Ryan Simpson was in. Doesn't seem to have...
Yeah, but if you remember yesterday, they also ran to a program similar to what the Sharons did. They went, righto, let's race for a couple of laps. If we go with them, we go with them. But then they ticked off the boxes on lap times, and he pulls out and draws alongside. Let's see if he wins the drag race down into turn 1. Certainly the BMW is out wide at this point in time. So all it does is call Tim Lay into the battle as well.
And if we remember yesterday, too, the fastest laps for that Lotus were actually coming towards the end of the race, weren't they?
They were. Yeah, that was Ryan Simpson really calling very, very deep down and showing all and sundry that wanted to take any notice that he's a talent to be well and truly respected.
As they weave their way through traffic, these 3 sitting currently in 3rd, 4th and 2nd place.
They tick off Sarah McSweeney. It's a debut race meeting here this weekend, so she's got some heavy hitters trying to charge on through. She's been very generous with getting out of the way of the contenders around her. Really should be applauded with her efforts.
Can I also suggest that she has actually learnt a fair bit from yesterday? Her fastest lap yesterday was around about the high 153s. She's now down to the low 151, so she's picked up 2.5 seconds.
It's a steep learning curve early on, isn't it? It really is a steep learning curve. You get into it and you start to improve pretty quickly. It's when you get 20 years into your career and you're lucky to get a tenth of a second here and there that gets a lot more difficult. Here's Johnny Goodacre, one of the great blokes in Australian motorsport in this BMW, the Easy Pos car. He's driven saloon cars. He's driven Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge cars. In fact, the second most amount of race starts for that category, being held by John Morris is the number 1, but Johnny Goodacre second.
3 abreast as they come down to turn 1. Grant Sharon gets in front. Tim Lay's not going to give up though. Jim Policina under siege at the moment. Through 1, through 2. Lay will take the inside run. Will he have enough to get up the inside of Policina? Up into 3, he doesn't.
Caitlin Hawkins going to get a quick reminder that the field's coming through any minute now. They go through. She stayed right out of the way. It's good driving there. No need to weigh in on that battle. Let them go through. Your battle is with other cars in your class, in the B2 class. Now, we touched on this yesterday. The first 9 cars are A1 cars.
Yep.
It doesn't take too long for some little gremlins to start to niggle into these really fast A1 cars. We start to see some B1s and some C cars coming through.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like there may be a gremlin that has jumped into the Mitsubishi Evo 10 for Rick Bates.
Here's a run as well. This is the number 17 Class C car. This is leading Class C. They're just starting to pick off some of the other cars in this field. The Morris Finance leaderboard showing from 5th down through the field now. Lachlan Gibbons, Kyle Orford, Jason Miller. They're in the Subaru, the Lotus Exige, Mitsubishi Evo 9 and BMW 1N. Then Shane Smollen leading Nathan Callahan in position number 10. Rob Rubis. And there goes on screen now Colin Osborne slipping through on the BMW as well and having the Pulsar going very, very fast through there. Cameron Duncan in the lane.
You asked, guys, what happened to Rick Bates, so I thought I'd better ask him. Rick, you're out of the race. What's happened?
It started running. There was a leak actually when we let pit lane, which was probably a consequence of yesterday's coming together that Bob had. It hadn't done it before, but it started leaking power steer fluid, and a few laps in, the steering was a bit heavy, but it started binding up badly and making a lot of pump noise, so I just brought it in before we had a disaster like going off the road, or it was going to cease the pump and throw the belt shortly anyway, so I just came in. So
down into Class C, Harley Haber doing a great job in the Nissan, ahead of Will Brown in the Toyota Echo. James Brock making up the 3rd car in that Class E category in the MG6. A 13-second gap between him and these 2 cars, which, as you can see, is a good battle. Only a second and a half between Haber and Will Brown.
Will Brown drove a really good race yesterday in the Echo. Flew under the radar, really didn't draw any attention, which was good, because drove very, very well. He's one of these guys that is taking absolute advantage of every situation that crosses his path. Jim Policino looks to have a bit of fight left in him here. He's not letting Grant Shannons away with it. He's bouncing the BMW over the back of the curbs there as well, just to stay in front as we go to Greg Rust in pit lane.
Darren, I've just wandered up and had a word to the Simply Sports Cars team just in relation to the advantage that Grant Denyer has at the moment, and has there been any call to just ease off and maintain the gap? They said that he's doing such a good job at the moment. They have left him to it. They're not bothering him at the moment. And a quick word with Tony D'Alberto as well. Late yesterday in the 2-hour race, he had a problem with the drink bottle holder. And as you can appreciate, in a mini enduro like that, you need hydration, you need replenishment. And he couldn't reconnect it to get that drink bottle and to be able to use it toward the end of the race. They have fixed that for this afternoon's 2-hour extravaganza.
Thanks very much, Rusty. We've just seen a swap for second place in the race. Jim Policino's gone, I've had enough. I want to get in front of this BMW. I don't want those turbo fumes in my face any longer. He pressured for about half a lap on the back of the M4 and streamed on through, coming onto the straight there, which is probably a bit of a risky point to pass in the Lotus, because the BMWs can hold their own there. Here it is, under brakes, little slight lock-up, little nip up on the brakes there for the
tiny
Parramatta Smash Repairs Lotus, but nothing to really be too alarmed about. I guess we just keep that in the back of our mind. If that car goes in the pits and they go, hey, we need to pull that left rear off, it's being tortured.
We have some major issues for Jason Miller as he tries to bring this car back. It's either got no petrol or it's got no power, one or the other, but it is starting to pull up now, this Evo 9.
The Stokes Skis entry, car number 20, slowed coming up to turn 5 and hasn't been able to get it motivated again. And in fact, it seems to be going just ever so slightly. Is there a wobbling rear wheel? No, that's just the way the tyre is seated on the rim there, but this car just trickling along. There's no smoke, there's no fluid leaking from it. So you'd have to suggest there's some driveline breakage of some description. As we're just getting a position change here as well. Tim Lay's just run very, very wide. Policino's got through with him on the previous corner, and now Sharon gets through on him. So Tim Lay has just given up 2 spots in the matter of 1 straight and 2 corners. So I wonder what's going on there with the M3. Here's this move again. The M3 getting wide. Driver error. and getting wide out in the dirt, bouncing around as we go down to Cameron in pit lane.
I found Elliot Barber. Now, Elliot, you're wearing a race suit. You got race boots on. Are you racing this weekend?
No, I'm not racing. It's not a designated 2 driver, so obviously for us, JB will drive the whole weekend solo. But I am on the fire extinguisher, so very important job. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. So I've got all the gear, but no idea.
They found something useful for you to do, Elliot. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. Fastest fireman in pit lane, mate.
All right, we'll be watching. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
At the look of the crew, they're going to get into it, aren't they? They look like they want to get this thing into the shed and back out on track. They're in a championship, so why not? Why not try and drag some points? They will get whatever they get for finishing somewhere down the field.
Well, he was driving faster than they were.
Tell you what, though, the crew look to have worn themselves out on the job down there. Word is that it sounds like they've done a differential down there. Cam's on the spot in the garage with the Stoke Ski Evo 9.
I've got Jason Miller here with me. Jason, it looks like you're out of the race now.
Yeah, mate, blown diff. Hurt a large bane just through the exit of turn 2. Lost all drive from there and pretty much rolled it back on the clutch. So, yeah, lucky to make it back.
Mate, such a shame too, looking so good.
Yeah, mate, we're going well. Just putting away, roughly 34 is all we can do around here, so we're sitting on a 34. It was all going good, but unfortunately, yeah, it happens.
So let's turn our attention back to the leaderboard, and we can tell you that Grant Denyer currently leads Class A1 ahead of Jim Policina and Grant Sheridan. They're our 3 outrights at the moment, and actually our 3 outrights also for the round at the moment as well. Class B1 is Rubus ahead of Keane. Down to A2, Nathan Callahan there in the big Commodore that he shares with Chris Lewis. Cole Orban ahead of Colin Osborne in Class C. Alexandra Best in Class D. And Harley Haber ahead of Will Brown in Class E. Caitlin Hawkins, the sole B2 entrant here for this race weekend.
The marked cars entered BMW. Here we go into there. There's Sarah McSweeney climbing out. A round of applause for her terrific job.
Yep, great job.
There goes Adam. Everything was going well yesterday until Adam got in the car and things started to go a little bit awry. It's a lot earlier in the race now with, I think she went into about an hour and a quarter yesterday in the car. He's jumped in. We haven't even ticked over that hour time yet. Still an hour and 6 minutes remaining in this race. So it's down to Rusty.
I'm with Sarah, who's just stepped out of the car. You're a little miffed because the damage to the rear only really happened on the in-lap, didn't it?
Yeah, I was just pulling into the pits and then I got bumped from behind as I was slowing down to come in. So hopefully it hangs on for the rest of the race.
Felt okay though as you came in?
Yeah, no, it felt fine. I didn't actually know there was damage. I could hear them over the radio going, the bumper's hanging off. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Beyond that, a report card on the first hour of the race for you guys. You happy?
Yeah, really happy. I obviously aren't out there. It's my first race ever, so I knew I wasn't going to do any records, but had my own record to beat, and I made it my second last lap. So that was me coming in, and I'll let Adam go out there now and try and clean up the rest of it.
We've got Tony Delberto about to get ready to get in the car. Grant's done a great job so far.
He's done an absolutely stellar job. Been really fast at the front, nice and smooth, pulled a nice gap. So we'll just see how the race pans out. You know, one safety car and that lead can be diminished, but he's done a great job, can't fault it at all, so good on him.
We'll be back trackside in just a few moments. Here's car number 12, the Griffith and Will Brown car. It's still Will Brown at the wheel and still Will Brown leading Class E. Currently 14th on the road. Yeah, good job, driving nicely. Will, of course, we saw driving the Mercedes with Rod Salmon last year in the production car series, particularly at Wakefield Park. Did a good job.
Unfortunately, though, for those guys, they didn't have a good race yesterday. So the only points they're going to take out of the weekend are these points that they accumulate today. That's going to keep them out of contention for a Class E win for the weekend as we head down towards the 1 hour and 10 minute mark of this race. Too far off that. And our leading 4 cars continue on with their original starting drivers. Grant Denyer, Jim Policina, Grant Sheridan and Tim Lay.
Yeah, Tim Lay just holding station, bringing that car back in to hand it over to the car owner and bring the points that they need to stay in contention with this year's championship hunt. He's still in contention with Grant Shannons. He's only, a second and a half off the back of the M4 to the M3, as we've got Cam with further news in pit lane.
I just thought I'd grab Ryan Simpson after we heard from Tony D'Alberto. He suggests you are the quick man to look out for at the end of the race. That's a great honour coming from a driver of the calibre of Tony D'Alberto.
It is. It's a nice comment, but I don't think I'm that quick. We've got a fair way behind, so we're really banking on a safety car now. Jim's done a good job, but there's a bit of a gap there, so a safety car would be nice.
Commentators Tony Shebeki and Darren Smith have been talking about your drive yesterday. How would you rate it amongst all your drives? I know you've driven Formula Ford, Formula V, all sorts of things over the years, but it must have been a pretty special drive yesterday.
It was a long race, and I needed to push pretty hard towards the end. I was a little bit disappointed making a mistake in the restart, and tried to make amends for it and push pretty hard, but it was close. We got really close. I'll remember it for a while.
Just a couple of the big front-running teams gearing up now for stops, and the word from Berwick Linton's crew a moment ago is that we can expect Tim Lay within 5 minutes. Expect him in less than 5 minutes.
Tell you another thing you can expect down there at the moment, Rusty. I believe that the number 5 car, that is Adam Hargraves in that car at the moment, also coming in shortly. Looks like it's got a very loose back bumper bar. So we know that it had a hit earlier on when it had Sarah in that car. They did put it together with the 100-mile-an-hour tape, but it may have been loosened since, and that's not good news for them. That'll send them in for their their third trip down the lane. Of course, their second trip was due to a infringement of pit lane penalty due to the fact that Adam took off and went over the blend line before hitting the track out of pit lane.
2 cars in the lane now, in contention, both in their titles. The B1 car there of Mertens and Keane. So James Keane out, Dominic Mertens gets in and drives out of the lane down to Greg Rust.
Guys, the service work continues on the 38, and Shane Smolin's already out of the car. How was the stint for you?
Actually, the stint was really good. The car was obviously getting better as the fuel load was coming down. The tyres hang in really well in this little thing. It was certainly punching above its weight. Leaders were obviously getting past, but we were certainly hanging on to them, twisty stuff. So, look, let's see. I think we're set for a good outright P, and there's still plenty left to go.
Here's an interesting situation with the big Commodore, Nathan Callahan, and the Lotus coming through. He would not have even known it was there. No. Would not have even known it. He would have been lucky to have seen a green and white flash in the mirror as he approached the back of him there. So
it was like a flea on a rhino's bum.
Well, he's got through regardless of what flea and what rhino was involved. And Grant Denyer continues to lead this race, but certainly that was a good way to get through whilst the car's running wide, and you get the little Lotus up the inside and just drive away, and that's exactly what he's doing.
That's the most ready we've seen Tony D'Alberto now. He's got the hood on, suits fully done up as well, so one would think that it's not too far away before they bring this leading car, the number 10 Lotus, in for its pit stop. Here comes the Linton car, so Tim Lay brings that into lane. Berwick Linton will step in, we believe.
Let's see if they do riggers.
Yeah, let's have a look and see what does happen. In regards to points as well, though, I mean, Policina and Simpson are 36 points ahead of Sherrin for the round. So in regards to overall situation, that car would have to drop a fair few places for that 36-point margin. So even if Sherrin did catch Policina, you would think that they're still safely second for the round.
Greg Rust in the lane.
I reckon Tim was trying to get a sense of what the tyres look like, because you haven't been 100% happy as far as grip level is concerned. I'll let you get your helmet off there firstly while they continue to work on that car and get Berwick ready to head on out. Give us the feedback. What was the drama?
Oh, mate, it started off all right, but just after a few laps, just really struggled with understeer. So, and when the car hasn't got a lot of grip, and these ABS cars, sometimes the pedal travels and you've got a deep pedal into the corner, or other times you've got a hard pedal into the corner. So it was a very unpredictable end. I was like, if there were spider webs on the apexes, I was leaving them there. So it was a bit sketchy, and I think, sound like a whinging driver now, but I think power is a little bit of a problem too. So we just haven't got the power that we should, I reckon. But anyway.
Working side tyres done on that car.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
There's the
Shannons car in.
Yeah. So this will be interesting to see.
No tyres.
No tyres, just driver change and off you go. Ian Sherrin jumps into that. So that was a fairly quick stop in the scheme of things, 1:14 for that Sherrin car. The Linton car getting out to around about 2 minutes for its pit stop.
So that's going to be a net gain for the Shannons as long as they can get up the pace and the tyres will stay under the car. Remember, that car had tyre issues last year in its development phase. It hasn't had tyre problems ever since. They really did do a lot of work on dampers and a lot of work on geometry on that car to make sure that they could still be fast and not pop tyres, because they were getting feedback from the control tyre mob saying you are just running too much camber and that's why you're blowing up the inside of the tyre. They knew it. They rolled the dice and tried to take it on as we get an update again from pit lane with Greg Rust.
Just try and dive in and have a quick word with Grant about how the stint was for you. It looked as though I was down at another pit stop, and as I wanted back to check on you guys, it looked as though you left the tyres on, did you?
Yeah, we haven't changed any tyres, so run the gauntlet and see how we go.
Good battle. You guys are in the thick of it with Tim Lay and with Jim Policina for that entire stint. It looks like it's been hard work for you.
Yeah, it's been a bit of hard work out there, but it's been a lot of fun, you know. It's been great. Both of them were battling nice and cleanly, and it was clean racing, and with other cars mixing it up, so it was fantastic fun.
Jim Policina is now being shown in the lane here. The Parramatta Smash Repairs Mocom car. Cameron Vandernucken in pit lane.
Well, you can see the Policina cars in. Ryan Simpson, he didn't wait for Tony D'Alberto to get into the car. They've gone now and made that change. So Jim Policina out. We know that Ryan Simpson is the quicker of the two drivers. And they've finished fuel just as he's getting in now. Looks like no tyre change. Fuel done. It's just straps to go on. And Simpson will be out on track. And the charge will then be on.
Here comes the Sherrin car now around the final turn.
Yep, so that's pushed out nicely indeed. They've come in, no tyres, and that's really a commanding way to go about it. Now we just have to see what's going to happen with the Simply Sports Cars Green Lotus. Oh no, Berwick Linton has come to a halt in the number 23. Bruce Linton Body Shop, paint and panel specialist, and gets underway again. Is that a control-alt-delete? Is that a switch it off? It's gone into limp home mode. Turn it all back on again, and away you go. That's what happened, isn't it? Because it's underway again. Yeah. But he's lost ground. Again, he's lost ground. So that's not good. Not good at all. There's another car in the Jacuzzi Spas Australian Production Car Series. Is that car 4?
Yeah, good stint for Rob Rubis. Hands it over to Scott Turner.
Quite a long stint, isn't it? Actually, we've gone 90 minutes. Right up against it. Of course, you don't actually have to have a co-driver. In fact, we've got numerous cars doing it with single drivers here this weekend. There's the big Commodore in the lane there as well. Nathan Callahan in. Be handing it over to Chris Lillis. Fueled up. That'll be a big load of fuel tone going in there. 6.2 litre V8. Here's our race leader down there in pit lane with Cam Vandernucken.
And Tony D'Alberto is not getting in the car. Grant Denyer is fueled and good to go. Tony D'Alberto, just quickly, no driver change, Tone. What's going on?
Well, we think that we don't need to. So Grant's doing a great job, and we want to try and put as much space between us and Ryan Simpson as we can. And that's the best way to do it. So hopefully we've still maintained the lead, and we've put a lap on him there. So Grant's just got to stay in for the rest of the race now.
You're looking cool as a cucumber, and I think you're going to stay that way, Tone.
Yeah, it's all about strategy and trying to get the win. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then we'll take it a punt.
All right, thanks, Tone.
Cheers.
Well, we know Ryan Simpson's a great driver, but there is no way he's making up a lap in 30 minutes.
Kyle Orford is in second place, and that's Ryan Simpson coming up onto the back of Kyle Orford at the moment.
Now, they haven't had a pit stop yet, the Orford Lotus. So they are second on track, about to drop to third.
So they're going to need fuel at some stage. Kyle is staying out in the car. Tony might get a last minute call up to jump in with a fuel stop. There's Berwick Linton in the background there. Berwick currently in 6th place and a lap down on those cars at the moment. But Ryan Simpson has released himself now into P2, and there is Berwick Linton going with him at the moment. So staying with him.
There is our class leader, Martins, in B1, the number 50 car, of course, of which he shares with James Keane at Volkswagen Golf. It's been a good run for them.
It has been a brand new race car at the last round for these guys. So getting the development done in the Volkswagen is good stuff. Well done to them. And there's the Orban brothers, car number 17, currently leading Class C and in 12th position. Callum Jones right behind in Class C, the number 31. So that's a 12th and 13th on the road there for Class C, but the number 17 is in the box seat at the moment. Coming up the hill into the sun, will be right in their eyes as they come around into turn 3. Better grow. Renault McGann hailing out of Bathurst.
And Chris Lillis and Nathan Callahan share that beautiful Commodore. That is our class leader in A2. In fact, our only car in Class A2 for this weekend. They've been fairly consistent throughout the day. Tough, sitting in 10th place.
Tough track to haul the HSV around on. But full credit to them.
There's our Class D leader, the 51 car of Matt Thaddeus and Alexandra Best. Matt's in the car at the moment. That car currently sitting 15th overall.
Oh, Ryan Simpson has had a big spin on the oil down there at turn 3.
He has too.
Turned it round and has just ever so slightly kept it off the wall. Spun it round in that oil, and he has buried himself right down there in the dust. And at the moment, all you can see is the headlights just through the dust there. We've got our camera right over the top of it. He's kept it off the barriers, but that was going to be a very, very nasty crash. He engages the gear and drives back across the sand pit and continues on. So no need for a safety car with 5 minutes left to go in this race. So here is how it happened. That oil went down a number of laps ago. He's been well aware of it because he's been setting fastest laps whilst it's there. Just a momentary lapse in concentration there for Ryan. A rare lapse in concentration, and didn't hit anything.
No, lucky enough, the car remains straight and remains in second place.
Now all it's doing is distributing stones all around the Winton Motor Raceway layout.
Well, hopefully covering up the oil that was around as well. Grant Denyer, though, has had a sterling effort. Driven the whole 2 hours by himself.
A crushing victory here for Grant Denyer.
Yeah.
This is absolutely dealing out a don't argue to the entire production car field.
So 3 wins in a row for this car. Took the final race.
Trifecta.
At Queensland. And of course a win yesterday and a win today.
3 from 3 from Granny D. Very good job. There's the check flag.
We'll credit Tony Alberto with some of it.
Some of it at QR. Great win there. Mark Carr's guys there on the fence as well. They're very, very happy.
So the Denyer, D'Alberto, Lotus in first. Policina and Simpson in second. And the Alford boys bring their Lotus home in third place. And Sharon fourth. Lockie Gibbons in the 66 with Dimitri Agathos taking the spot off Berwick Linton in the end. Thomas Muller down in 7th, Dominic Martins 8th, Scott Turner and Chris Lillis making up our last 2 spots in the top 10.
Well, we go to Sydney Motorsport Park with this series for their second last round. And we've got that 6-hour race at the end of the year at Phillip Island, the first weekend in November. Make sure you get down there for that one.
Yeah, look, we thought there might be a bit of advantage. We had good pace, and you lose, 20 seconds doing a driver change. And Tony thought I was doing such a good job I should stay out there. I don't know if I feel that way now, but it was good. Yeah, it was the Lotus was absolutely on rails. But I was just working hard at the end to try and make sure I didn't blow a tyre because they're fairly blistered now. So that's a good feeling.
We hope you've enjoyed our coverage here at Winton. A big thanks to all of our broadcast team, but especially to all of the flag marshals and officials, some 80 of them giving up their Father's Day to enjoy a fantastic weekend of racing. We really appreciate all of your efforts. We hope you've enjoyed it. We will catch you with the Shannons Nationals from Sydney Motorsport Park in a few weeks' time. Bye for now, everyone.